Hey, everybody, we are Scott and Rachel. We do help committed Christian couples finally end cycles of conflict, disconnection, and negativity and reclaim the love, passion, and playfulness that they once had. So, today, if you're out there and you feel like you have tried everything, you're wondering why in the world most of the things that you have tried have not worked to fix your marriage, whether it's counseling, whether it's group therapy, couples therapy or marriage counseling or individual counseling, or you read the books or you've gone to the intensives or done the weekend retreats or whatever it is, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to talk about why most marriage fixes don't work and what you can do about it.
Yeah, and reasons why. Absolutely. So, yeah, if you're finding us on Facebook, make sure that first of all, you are liking our coaching page so that you get all our fresh content on there. Make sure you're also part of our Facebook group just called Turnaround Marriage. You can search Turnaround Marriage and find both of those. And also, if you're finding us on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'd appreciate you sharing our content as well. So, yeah, we want to dive in with something that we have consistently seen talking to hundreds and hundreds of Christian couples. And it's the same type of thing that we hear over and over again. Like, we've tried the counseling. We have tried reading books. Like, I've tried everything I know to do. We've gone to the retreats even. And it seems like it helps a little bit, but then we go back to square one. And then this is the reality of it. This is the heart of it, guys. When it's kind of like this. Like, if you were riding on the Titanic and it's taking on water and you ask for paper towels, it's not going to work very well. It's not going to even begin to scratch the surface. And that is what happens a lot of times for people, for couples, when they know that things are not the way that they should be. And they're trying to fix the problem, but the paper towels are never going to fix the problem. You have to get to the root problem. And what we see over and over and over again, the root problem is this: cycles of negative thinking. This is what has to change for there to be any hope to turn things around in your marriage ultimately.
It's so true, Scott, and so good. And, you may not have seen it, and as you share with your friends the struggle in your marriage and your frustration with your spouse and what's going on in your marriage, you may even feel righteous in having that negativity. You may even feel validated that you feel the way you feel. And, and as your friends come alongside you, they comfort you, they say, that's so terrible, why does he do that to you, I can't believe that. And it kind of feeds into that cycle of negative thinking, and it's so easy to stay locked in there and kind of spiral downward from there. And you may recognize it but not even know what to do with it. And so here's the thing: when we ask couples, when they get on our phone, we say, what's not working in your marriage, the top three answers always consistently are communication. We just don't know how to communicate. Or intimacy. We're not intimate at all. We don't have any connection. Or he had an affair, or she stepped out of the marriage, she had an emotional affair, whatever it is. These are the top three things we always hear consistently over and over again. They feel like the problem is we just fight, or we don't know how to understand each other, we don't know how to communicate, or the problem is he had an affair and he left me, or he betrayed me in the marriage, or the problem is we're not having sex anymore, we're just not intimate, we're not even close anymore, we don't even know how to connect or talk. And here's the thing: none of those are actually the root problem.
Right.
They're just symptoms of the real problem. And the real problem is this negative thinking. Because guys, you guys would not have stopped being intimate if there had not been some negative thinking about that intimacy. You guys would not have started speaking to each other the way you do if you didn't start thinking about your spouse in a different negative light, or about your situation, or about yourself, or even about your God or the institution of marriage, if it hadn't started with that thought. Because things always spiral out of control as a result of our thinking first. Things always start in our mind.
Yeah, you're so right. They absolutely do. And so the patterns of negativity, I mean, this is a really broad way of saying it, but it could be simply the beliefs about yourself and the things you're saying about yourself. It could be your beliefs about your spouse. It could be your beliefs about your circumstances. It could be your beliefs about God ultimately. And these, if we don't change these, if we're staying in these patterns of negativity, it's going to bring the marriage down, and it's going to bring you down, and it's going to bring your spouse down. And when you're bringing your spouse down, it's going to further bring the marriage down. And when you're bringing yourself down, you're not able to show up in your marriage the way that you'd like to or should. And it's a vicious cycle, and you're going down, your spouse is going down, your marriage is going down. And ultimately, you know, in your heart of hearts, you recognize that there are these patterns, but maybe you don't even know how to get out of it. Sometimes people don't actually see sometimes the destructive nature of that. But most likely, if you're in these patterns, they are getting worse by the day. This is not improving. And it's very, very slow a lot of times. And it takes years and years. For me, it was decades of negative thinking, starting off with, boy, I wish life was a little bit more simple, and I wish things were going my way, and evolved into, I'm a complete failure. And God doesn't even really, he's not very pleased with me right now, you know? And so if you are in those patterns of negativity, they're spiraling, they're getting worse. And this is what it begins to look like. Like you've got a big old gash in your leg and the blood is running out, and you look in the mirror and you think, I'm getting a little pale. I wonder, I think I need some sun, or maybe I need some makeup. Like, yes, that is true. This is the symptom, but the real problem is the leg is gushing. And it really is that destructive, guys. You need to cut the blood loss. The root of the problem here is your belief about yourself, about God, about your spouse. And unless that's cut off, not your leg cut off, but the blood loss is stopped, then it's going to get worse. And the more you look at the symptoms of what you see above the problem, the more it's going to get worse and worse and worse.
I hope you're not talking about you wearing makeup, are you?
No, certainly not.
But it's such a good analogy, Scott, you know, and here's the thing. How many couples have we spoken to, and they've said to themselves over and over again, and they shared with us, I keep telling myself I married the wrong person, or I keep hearing that pastor who said, well, you guys aren't going to make it. Or I heard, you know, I keep saying the same thing over and over again, like, I'm just not happy anymore here, you know, and we've just lost our spark and we can't get it back. And, you know, I've made up my mind, or all these things, or we start to tell ourselves, well, he just doesn't love me anymore, or she just doesn't even see anything good in me anymore. I'm just a complete failure. And guys, if you're starting to spiral down into these negative ways of thinking and starting to have symptoms of anxiety or depression, it can feel so overwhelming in a marriage. It can feel like such a deep pit that you are slipping down into, and it can just seem so dark, and you can't see the light, and you can't see the way out. And it could even be just that you don't even know how to make sense of the hard things that have happened to you, or the hard things that have happened in your family, or the hard things that happened to you when you were growing up. And maybe you never had a healthy marriage model to you. Maybe you've come from a broken home and you don't even know what it's supposed to look like as a Christian. And it can just feel so hard, and we can get locked into these ruts of just thinking, well, I'm the only one that's suffering like this, and I guess we're just not meant to be together. And we can go down these spirals. And the more that we allow those tapes to play in our head, the more loud those voices become, and the harder it is to hear anything else. And those spirals can just feel like that ship is sinking, or the blood is just gushing out. And you know, like you said, you can't just, you know, put a patch on it and hope that that's going to fix it. It's like we have to get to the root. We've got to learn how to renew our minds. And sometimes it's just this learned helplessness where we just, you know, like we go into victim mode. It's like, well, you know, these are the cards I've dealt. And I guess I just have to, you know, we just have to like be death to death do us part. Let's just be miserable together. And we're not getting divorced because, you know, we're going to honor our vows, but we're going to stay miserable. And we can get locked into
that's
these
God
ways
honoring,
of
right?
thinking.
No.
Yeah. We say it a lot that it's, you know, being miserable together till death do you part does not honor God, and it is not a good witness to the world, right? And so we're here to tell you there's a better way.
Absolutely. And here's the heart of it, is that things have got to change. And you've got to change the way that you think. And the Bible's not unclear about this, guys. The Bible is abundantly clear that, you know, we need to change the way we're thinking. So, for example, James tells us to consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds. You know, 1 Thessalonians 5 tells us to give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. You know, and Jesus said in John 14, peace I leave with you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Like we're told over and over again where our minds need to be, where our hearts need to be. And so what we have found that's very interesting, and it was also true for me in my experience, is we were often taught what to think in the church. We're often taught what to think in Christian homes, but oftentimes, we're not taught how to think.
Mhm.
And that is where it's really important. The Bible tells us that we need to be constantly renewing our minds. The reality is that a lot of people just don't know how to do that. And that's
Exactly.
one of the big things that we do help people with. And so,
Yeah.
guys, we want to say is today, many of you are hearing this and you're thinking, yes, I need to be changing the way I'm thinking. I need to be believing what God says about me, what God says about my circumstances, what God says about my marriage and my spouse, and applying that. And some of you really need to go back to the truth. But there's a good number of you that are out there that are thinking, yes, I hear what you're saying. And I've tried to change these patterns. And I know that it's wrong. It just seems like this is the way that it is. In fact, maybe it was even modeled to you and your mom was that way. And you don't know how to do things any differently than what you've experienced growing up. Maybe, whatever it is, wherever you're feeling stuck, many of you out there today are realizing this isn't changing easily. And we do need help to think, properly about what God has laid out for us, not what to think, but how to think.
Yeah.
And I just encourage you need to reach out and book a call with us at turnaroundmarriage.com/call.
Yeah, it's so good, Scott. And many of you are holding on to a lot of baggage from the past, a lot of baggage from past relationships or from your upbringing, from hurts from your parents or, bullies or whatever it is. Some of you have baggage from early on in your marriage, hurts that have happened between you and your spouse or your first marriage or whatever it is. And so we're here to tell you that, to be able to put that baggage down, it starts with changing your mind. It starts with changing the way you think. And we're here to tell you that that is exactly possible. It is possible. It takes about 63 days to renew your mind, to be able to change how you think about something. And so, it takes time and practice, and it takes somebody walking alongside you, because often, most likely, you are stuck in these negative patterns of thinking, and it's just normal for you. It's like you feel like it's the truth, and you feel like it feels real because you've believed it for so long. And it's affecting your life as though it is true, which is what happens with our thoughts. And so we're here to give you hope. We're here to show you that there is a better way. If you're sick and tired of feeling helpless in your marriage, of thinking that you've tried everything, of thinking that it's just a communication problem or an intimacy problem, and really ready to get to the root, we want to encourage you to reach out, book that call at turnaroundmarriage.com/call. Guys, it could be the best 45 minutes you spend investing in your marriage. And we're here to tell you that hope is available. So don't stay stuck. Don't feel like you're the only one, and don't feel like, well, you've tried everything, because we're here to tell you, when you can change the way you think, all of those other pieces can come into place. The intimacy can come back. The communication can develop. That beautiful connection can come back, and healing and trust can be rebuilt in a marriage. We've seen and walked many couples on that journey. So we're here to tell you that it's possible. Don't stay stuck in these feelings of anxiety or depression or hopelessness. Okay.
Yeah, it's so true. And I would just add on top of that, Rachel, it's so good what you said. When you begin to change the way that you think, and literally you could see the brain scans looking very differently. What is possible when that changes?
Everything.
And everything in your marriage, everything about the way you're carrying yourself, everything about your beliefs can really radically change in a powerful way very, very quickly. So yes, encourage you guys, each and every one of you out there today, that hope is possible for you.
Yeah. So see you on that call, turnaroundmarriage.com/call. We'll talk to you guys soon.